They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, you just heard the president speaking there for just about 6 minutes, and the bottom line is reiterating the U.S. will do whatever it needs to do, using its military for a force of good, and saying that if the U.S. has done its part, it's now up to the Iranian people. Of course, a president who had run on no regime change, no wars in the Middle East, and no forever wars. It is, of course, a bit of a cognitive dissonance that we continue to hear here. Holly Dagres joins us now, senior fellow with the Washington Institute, curator of the Iranist newsletter, and also with us is Joel Rubin, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under President Obama, also the author of the briefing book on Substack. So I appreciate both of you. Joel, let me just start, though, one thing that stands out there. The president said much of what he said has been consistent all the way along. He did reference, these objectives, which he did not specifically lay out here. But then he talked about the death of the U.S. serviceman, Joel, and he said, sadly, there will likely be more, that's the way it is. What's your reaction to that he is telegraphing that there will be more Americans who die in this?
Yeah, Aaron, first and foremost, my heart goes out to the families of those who were killed in action on our behalf. And I'm glad that he brought it up. I'm also glad that he's talking about it openly this way, because it means that he is cognizant that this is going to have a high impact on how Americans view this action. But what it means to me is that we're going to be continuing these strikes, and that it means, by extent, that there will continue to be rockets and missiles being sent towards our forces across the region and our allies as well. And so this is going to be an ongoing operation for days, and it will continue. And we'll see if the Iranian leadership now sues for peace or it continues to fight and fight. But that this is going to be some time going forward to have these hostilities in front of us.
And Holly, you talk about in a recent piece that you wrote about, how some Iranians just, have obviously celebrated this in Iran. Overall, though, we have not seen a mass uprising at this point. I mean, it's a very uncertain moment, to state the obvious. What do you make of what the president just said there? An open plea to members of the IRGC, right? The powerful military and economic force that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is, trying to openly put out there that they're asking for their defections. Is that meaningful?
Well, it is noteworthy. It's something I had, as a policy maker, I've been advocating since the 2022 Women Life Freedom Uprisings and creating these off-ramps for defections. We didn't really see that happen during the 12-day war. And during this recent anti-regime uprising in January, unfortunately, it resulted in an unprecedented massacre. So that being said, in this moment, it's really hard to measure what that looks like. It could be that people don't show up to work, that they feign illness. And so in this moment, I can't imagine, with much of the clerical establishment still in power, that they would actually give up their arms, because that would be considered as treason. So, but I think that right now, given that it's been 36 hours, that can obviously change very quickly. And I think it is noteworthy. And it's something that Iran analysts and ordinary Iranians alike, whether in the diaspora or inside the country, I've always wondered what that would look like. Who would defect? Would it be the IRGC? Would it be the army? But again, some of these characters are ideological and would rather be, quote unquote, martyred than actually give up their arms. But I think we have to wait and see in the days and weeks to come if this continues.
So Joel, President Trump has said that the new leaders of Iran are showing a willingness to talk. And obviously, there's still a lack of clarity as to who those, what that leadership actually entails, who's in it, in what role. Obviously, the president of Iran is still alive, although Israel said it's eliminated, 48 of the top military and regime leaders. So I guess at this point, though, for the Iranians, do you think there will be talks, right? I mean, talks have led to nothing, right, in either side, right? But the concept of talk was not a negotiation; it was a capitulation, right? So then what?
Yeah, I mean, that is the moment that I think we're currently in, which is the talks are defined now as an ultimatum. What President Trump has chosen to do is to tell the Iranians what he wants, which is the elimination of their entire nuclear infrastructure, pulling it out, the termination of their support for terrorist proxies in the region, of course, the elimination of their ballistic missile capacity, and then, to Holly's point, finding a way to allow the Iranian people to breathe. And absent that, I think that this president is willing to hold the line and continue to strike, which is quite remarkable, concerning it to your earlier discussion about regime change and long-term wars in the Middle East. And so for President Trump, this seems to be the path he's on. The question for the Iranian leadership is who's going to crack first, if anyone does, and try to say to the president, I'll join you and I'll be the leader and we'll do this and let's move on the others. Or are they going to hunker down and just try to wait this out? But for now, it's a capitulation negotiation demand.
Holly, what's your insight right now into who replaces the Ayatollah, right? There was no official heir. There's supposed to be a council. His son was seen as the person who would likely take up the mantle. What insight do you have into this right now?
Well, Article 111 of the Iranian constitution stipulates that basically the president, Masoud Pezeshkian, the judiciary chief, Mohsen Ejai, and a cleric from the Guardian Council, a vetting body, would actually take over his duties until that was determined. That being said, we don't entirely know who could be the next supreme leader. I know you mentioned Moshtaba Khamenei as being a prospect. I know that historically there's been conversations within Iran that if that were to be the case, it would be a hereditary model like the Shah. But there's also an 80-member assembly of experts, which is basically the equivalent of the College of Cardinals, and they will play a big role in helping determine the supreme leader. There were also reports during or after the 12-day war that he had 3 in mind, but we'll have to see in the coming days and weeks what that looks like.
I really appreciate that analogy with the College of Cardinals. I think that sets it up in a sense for so many of us to see. Joel, the thing about where I'm standing right now is that this region shut down. You can't fly in, you can't fly out. And that doesn't just matter to anybody who's coming in out of the Middle East, right? I mean, Dubai International is the biggest airport in the world in terms of transit. So people are stuck. You've got, in the United Arab Emirates, they've got more than 20,000 people that they say the government's just going to write a blank check and say, we'll pay your hotel and your rebooking and everything, because they're desperate to have people not say, forget it, this place isn't safe anymore. The United States is telling anybody, Americans don't go in and out of the region, don't avoid travel. I mean, Joel, how long can a situation like this continue? I mean, just to state the obvious, we have never seen the world's busiest airport possibly shut down for weeks on end because of being in a war zone.
Aaron, you're asking a question that clearly everybody should be asking right now in government. But I remember early on, to make an imperfect analogy, in the war in Gaza, when asked about how long can this go, I thought maybe for weeks, and it went for 2 years. These wars in the Middle East, they have a way of taking on a life of their own. And to your point about the pressure that will build, the additional pressure that Iran is putting on our allies in the region by shooting ballistic missiles at a multiplicity of Arab states and at civilian targets as well, that's all intended to try to increase the pressure on President Trump to pull back. And so the test of wills game, it may actually very well have started with this speech today by President Trump, where he's putting it out there that he is not going anywhere and he's not going to stop his assault. and then the Iranian leadership saying that they are going to continue to try to maintain themselves and strike back. And so this could go on for a long time. I'll just put it that way. This could go on for a very long time, and we could see this hostility. We have enough firepower for at least several weeks, if not longer. And then, of course, we could do resupply as well. And so I think that we could see this test of wills, this game of chicken go on for a very long time.
Yeah, sobering words when you consider what the president said there, which is that more Americans are going to die. Holly Douglas, Joel Rubin, I appreciate both of you very much. Thank you for being part of our breaking coverage here as people around the world, in some places taking to the streets to celebrate, some to condemn the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. We're going to go live to Los Angeles, where we are seeing big crowds gather today. Stay with us.
As much as we appreciate what our mechanics can do and who they are, no one looks forward to seeing the inside of an auto shop. Because if you're here, your car is too. And that means something's wrong. And likely, it means an expensive repair bill. That is, unless you've called CarShield. When you call CarShield before your car breaks down, they have plans that cover up to 5,000 parts and systems of your car. Don't wait. Call CarShield today before it's too late.
Call 800-788-2415.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter. Anderson Cooper 360. Weeknights at 8 on CNN.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia. Premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
The Source with Caitlin Collins. Weeknights at 9 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Explore CNN podcasts for your daily dose of news, culture, and smart storytelling. And discover the conversations shaping our world. Follow and listen to CNN podcasts wherever you get your podcasts.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
You're hunting something that can't be killed.
I could use a second set of hands here.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
A CNN and Variety Town Hall event. Timothy Chalamet and Matthew McConaughey on the CNN app.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, can't poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Arrest her!
My attorney will bury you.
The Situation Room weekday mornings at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
It is the stretch run on TNT.
The push for the playoffs, it's all about getting in. Once you're in, you never know what's going to happen. Give yourself every opportunity to compete for the Stanley Cup.
The rush to the playoffs on TNT.
Here's a breakdown of what you can find every weeknight out front. The real question comes down to, where is the supreme leader? Where are we when it comes to inflation? Direct, in-depth, and raw. Do you think that Pam Bondi is hiding something?
Hell yeah, I think she's hiding something.
Getting ahead of the biggest stories and giving you context you won't find anywhere else. Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism.
Aaron Burnett out front. Weeknights at 7 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
In a divided America,
Where do I fit?
You tell me, ask your partner.
Abby Phillip brings all sides to the table.
Can you name one thing you do differently?
The hypocrisy is so rank, folks at home. Classes in session.
To talk about the issues.
Congresswoman, it is false. The answer is 0.
The policies.
What is the Democratic Party about? Can you answer that question?
And the biggest debates to wrap up your day.
I hear what you're saying Trump believes in, but do you think it's a good idea?
Newsnight with Abby Phillip, weeknights at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
How's your shift going?
It's been a lot.
This can be very stressful.
Charged. Clear.
It's every day like this.
No comment.
We're gonna take care of you, okay?
This is what we do.
CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. Weekdays at 6 a.m. on CNN.
People across the globe are heading out into the streets to either celebrate or condemn the United States and Israel striking Iran. In Karachi, Pakistan, hundreds of pro-Iranian protesters stormed the U.S. consulate. At least 10 of them were killed after they clashed with police. Now, demonstrations are also taking place in other major American cities like Los Angeles. CNN's Julia Vargas-Jones is live there at a pro-strike rally. Julia, what are you seeing at these demonstrations?
Well, it's quite striking, Abby, because it almost looks like it's half a Trump rally and half a pro-Iran rally. We're seeing flags that say, thank you, President Trump, thank you, Bibi Netanyahu, for these strikes. You see these pale blue flags up here in the crowd behind me. Those are Iran's imperial flags. So these are very much pro-monarchy protesters who have come here. And just before we came on, we were hearing a chant that said, Javid Shah. Javid Shah, that means long live the Shah. They're referring, of course, about Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah, the deposed Shah of Iran. Now, speaking to these people, Abby, I do want to make this distinction. There is a wide variety of opinions here. Some who say, well, Reza Pahlavi might be the only person that could lead Iran into a transitional government. That is some of what the ideas we're hearing here. Some of them say that he is the only person that could unify Iran, of course, getting so ahead of themselves. Yesterday, we saw people crying in joy and celebrating as they heard for the first time about the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So they have been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions here. Of course, we're hearing that kind of emotion right behind me. But it is striking, Abby, just how much people are saying, look, it's sad for me to be joyous about this, but this is the change that Iran needs.
Julia Vargas-Jones, thank you very much for that report. And thank you all for joining me, and also my colleague, Aaron Burnett in Tel Aviv. Caitlin Collins will continue our coverage right after a short break.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Sometimes they're in moments of deep collaboration. At other times, the FBI is investigating the president.
You don't want an FBI to try to destroy a president, but you also don't want a president to destroy the FBI.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia, premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Introducing All There Is Live, where I talk to others about grief and loss, and you can join the conversation too.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
30 seconds.
Wake up.
Breaking overnight.
Catch up.
New details and more questions.
Start your mornings here.
This is a pivotal week.
CNN News Central. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on CNN and watch at 8 on the CNN app.
Life on the Mars farm, it's anything but quiet.
Every day is a lot of moving parts.
Especially with a renovation business that never stops.
There's no going back now.
Oh my God!
Yes. Fixer to Fabulous, all new Tuesday night at 8 on HGTV.
Taylor's engagement was just Princess Di level news.
$2.2 billion in spend is projected based on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding planning.
A Taylor Swift wedding is a pinnacle moment of celebrity culture.
It says a lot about our country that we have dragged Taylor Swift into a culture war about marriage.
People are invested in what they think that her life is.
I do. The Taylor and Travis era, now streaming on the CNN app.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
The definitive predator.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
might be standing on the verge of something great.
You feel good?
I'm tipping you off on a huge story.
We're under siege.
You can't construct a universe where nothing's real.
I've seen the headline.
This world will own you if you don't harden up.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, cat poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Rooster!
My attorney will bury you.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go, ah!
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow! I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it! Yeah, yeah!
This is something that no one would have expected even a few months ago.
There's new drama here on Capitol Hill tonight.
If you received that order, would you have carried it out?
Wouldn't you tell your friends back home I'm joining Border Patrol or some surprise?
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
Should kids be allowed on social media?
You know, I think a lot of women right now ask that question.
The Arena with Casey Hunt, weekdays at 4 on CNN, and watch on the CNN app.
This is the work of a cold, calculating assassin.
In a competition like this, every chef is swinging for the fences.
This is the best lineup of bakers I have ever seen.
Series premiere of the Ultimate Baking Championship, Monday, March 9th at 9 on Food Network.
And good evening. I'm Caitlin Collins, and we are following major breaking news as right now President Trump is on his way back to Washington just moments after he posted his second video since the United States launched an extensive military attack against Iran. This video the president posted to Truth Social just now.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right, and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
The president warning there that there could be more military deaths after at least 3 U.S. service members have already been killed as this operation is ongoing. CENTCOM confirmed as much earlier, as the president also made clear in that video that this U.S. campaign is not over yet. He argued that this will go on until the United States achieves all of its objectives, though as you listen to the president in that 6-minute video, he declined to detail exactly what those objectives are. In a phone call that the president had with the Daily Mail before that video was published to Truth Social, he laid out a potential timeline here and said that this could last up to 4 weeks. I do want to note, as the president is flying back to Washington, that we have gotten about 14 minutes of explanation from the president since this extensive military operation, an attack against Iran, was launched. But those are videos posted to Truth Social, not in front of reporters, not in front of the U.S. press pool that is typically with him while he's in Florida, which is where he was when these strikes were launched. We're still waiting to see if the president will address reporters as he's on his way back to Washington right now and what he'll say in response to key questions about how long this could last, how many military deaths the American people should be prepared for as a result of this, and much more on what exactly the U.S. objectives are here. What we are seeing play out in the Middle East is on the second day of this operation, a fresh wave of attacks from both Israel and Iran. The Israeli Defense Forces announced that they carried out attacks in the heart of Tehran. That's Iran's capital city. And Iran is still retaliating across the region, including strikes on several Gulf nations. That's what was playing out in the skies of Bahrain as a top Iranian official tells CNN exclusively that the president, in their view, crossed a very dangerous red line, referring to the killing of Iran's supreme leader, as the president referenced there. They added that they believe Iran has no option but to respond. Joining me now is CNN's chief international correspondent, Nick Payton-Walsh. And obviously, Nick, we're watching all of this play out, and not just what's happening inside Iran and this extensive campaign by the United States and Israel, but how this is playing out and creating these shockwaves across the region that could have huge ramifications for the Middle East, period, going forward here.
Yeah, look, I mean, it is utterly startling how at this moment of extraordinary weakness for Iran, Trump said, lacking 48 leaders killed in a matter of hours at the beginning of this American and Israeli onslaught here, that they are choosing to attack neighbors, regional powers like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, with whom it has not traditionally had a long-term public quarrel, but has essentially here picked an entirely new fight, hitting civilian targets by mistake or by accident or error at some point. That is utterly stunning, and that persists until now. And in fact, the foreign minister of Iran has indeed suggested that some kind of autonomy may have been given to Iranian military units in orders given prior to the death of Khamenei and this original onslaught. So unclear exactly what kind of command and control we're indeed seeing. Also, as you mentioned too, Caitlin, it is not entirely clear what the US endgame or goals really are here. If you listen to the president there, he kept harking back to two specific things: long-range missiles and Iran having a nuclear weapon. Well, clearly the Israelis and the B-2 bombers that we saw by the United States in the air over the last 36 hours are going for some of the more potent ballistic missiles. And certainly, I think after this level of onslaught, it's highly unlikely that the not particularly good condition nuclear program we saw prior to this onslaught will be in a worse one still. Then we had this wider aspiration from the president talking about the possibility of some kind of regime change, of popular uprising, of the IRGC, a Revolutionary Guard Corps, seeking total immunity rather than certain death. That is, I think, something which is slightly more of a pipe dream at this stage. We are not seeing signs of wider popular uprising at this particular point, although Trump did say for the second time since this began that the US would be there to help the Iranians rise up. We'll have to see if that moves at all, but ultimately now we're looking at a president whose timeline seems to shift to potentially nearly a month in one conversation. In other times he suggests perhaps he might be willing to speak to the Iranians soon, and I think a region here deeply on edge as to how, as this continues, the capacity for it spiraling out of control increases, but also aware as well that Iran is probably weak and weaker by the day, and the United States may see its complications here growing as well. Caitlin?
And also who exactly it would be from Iran that the president would be speaking with. A lot of unanswered questions here. Nick Payton-Walsh on the ground in Israel. Thank you for that report. I've also got our CNN military analyst and the retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton here with me. And Colonel, obviously when you look at what's happened and taken stock of the last 24 hours since you and I spoke yesterday afternoon, what are your takeaways from the strikes that you're seeing carried out by the United States and Israel, and what has continued now that we know the Supreme Leader is dead?
Yeah, that's a great point, Caitlin, because when you look at the types of strikes that we've actually conducted, you see that on the map here of Iran, there are quite a few of them. And, you know, what they look like is something like this. This is from Tehran today, March 1st. And you see right here in this particular frame, you see the smoke billowing there, and in another place over here. So Tehran itself, a city of about 10 million people or so, is a very target-rich environment just by itself. So that's why you see this concentration right here of targets that they hit. But they've also hit targets in the west. In this particular place in Kermanshah, it looks almost like a sandstorm coming through here. But this is the result of a strike because there are military installations in this particular area. So when you look at everything that they've done, they've basically taken out the air defenses in the west, the area around Tehran, and then you've got the coastline. President Trump mentioned that they've gone after the Navy. This is what you see here, Navy facilities along the coastline right here. Chabahar, for example, Bandar Abbas. All of these areas are part of the Iranian military Navy force, and that is one area that they want to make sure that they clean up so that it doesn't affect this area right here, which is the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, so that's where the United States and Israel have hit. What about Iran's retaliatory strikes that we've seen in the region, and a lot of condemnation on what they have been hitting so far?
Yeah, absolutely, Caitlin. So one of the areas, well, a couple of the areas that they've hit basically are all along this side of the Persian Gulf. So when you look at, for example, what they did in Bahrain, this is from the capital, Manama, hitting a high-rise building right here. It makes you almost think that you're in Ukraine when you see something like this. So this is the kind of stuff that they've actually been able to do here. And that damage, of course, is quite considerable to that building. And of course, that can result in a lot of casualties, but not only in Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, all of these areas, as well as Saudi Arabia, they have been hit. Now, that is crucial because as a result, the Saudis are saying we are going to get ready to potentially attack Iran ourselves because of this. And then, of course, you have Jordan and Israel. Israel in particular, of course, is dealing with a lot of these kinds of situations, has dealt with this for quite some time. So this is not new to them, but it still causes a lot of trouble for the Israelis and requires defensive measures to be taken, such as with the Iron Dome system and other related air and missile defense systems.
Yeah, a lot to watch right now beyond Iran and just in the region. Colonel Cedric Layton, thank you for breaking that all down for us.
You bet.
And when we come back here at CNN, much more of our special coverage as the Middle East is still reeling from another wave of violence. The uncertainty over Iran's future leadership following the killing of the supreme leader there, and whether or not President Trump will speak to reporters as he is headed back to the White House for the first time since launching this attack.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go ah?
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, can't poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off. Arrest her.
My attorney will bury you.
Welcome to All There Is Live, a weekly live stream where I talk to others about grief and loss.
I don't think that I was ever prepared for loss.
And you can join the conversation too.
All There Is Live, now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Every weeknight, we cover it all. From legal battles, at least one juror has now been excused, to political showdowns. How much you think that weighs on the president, and all the conversations in between? Wayne from Washington. Wayne, what's your question? Will you take this all the way to the Supreme Court?
I'm not refuting a syllable of what you said.
What do you say to people who are looking to find their voice?
All the news. Laura Coates Live. Weeknights at 11 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Let's go! We go big! Hey, big time jam! Everywhere we go, you know we go big!
College basketball all season long on TNT, True TV, and stream on HBO Max.
We go big!
Iran has formed what is being described as a provisional leadership council to lead the country, as Iranians are grappling right now with a profound shift in the nation's history after the killing of the supreme leader Khamenei here. The Iranian foreign minister says a new supreme leader could be chosen within days, and this is coming as Iranians are cheering and celebrating in parts of Tehran following the announcement of the supreme leader's death. My next guest was arrested and wrongfully imprisoned in an Iranian prison for 544 days. Jason Rezaian is the author of Prisoner, My 544 Days in an Iranian Prison, Solitary Confinement, A Sham Trial, High-Stakes Diplomacy, and the extraordinary effort it took to get me out. And it's so great to have you here. I should note you're also the director of the Press Freedom Initiatives at the Washington Post. And when you hear what the president just said in this new video that he's shared, we've only heard from him a total of 14 minutes since this happened on camera, but he spoke directly to the Iranian people. And I want to just give everyone a moment to listen to what his message was to them again.
I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help.
Jason, where do you think this leaves the Iranian people?
Confused, Caitlin. I think we've seen the scenes of celebration and elation following the killing of the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. I think that those responses are natural after being under the oppressive rule of this person who has a lot of blood on his hands over a 37-year rule. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Iranians were killed because of his leadership. But that leadership doesn't, unfortunately, end with his death. The firepower of the Islamic Republic is still in the hands of the Revolutionary Guard, the besieged paramilitary forces as well. And we haven't seen signs of any fissures in that structure yet. I think we will at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen today, tomorrow, next month, or sometime in the further future. So I think that there is really no clarity on what President Trump is offering in terms of support for Iranians, normal Iranian people, the people that have been protesting regularly for the last over the last 25 years or more. They've been doing so with no defenses, and they still don't have defenses. So I'm not really sure what it means for them.
Yeah, I think that's a key question where the president is saying to the Iranian people, we've taken out the supreme leader, now it's up to you. I think a lot of people would ask, do they have the capability to do that, given what we've seen in these past, protests and the crackdowns and what has happened here? I mean, do they even have the capability to do what the president is talking about here?
Not at current. And I think that is should have been clear after the 12-day war back in June. Many layers of Iranian leadership have been taken out in that round of attacks, as well as this one. And I think more leaders will be taken out, but it's got a deep bench, for lack of a better term. And, I think the reality is that this could be a very long slog. I don't think that the Islamic Republic can ever regain anything like superiority over the society or legitimacy in that country, whatever remnant of that remained up until now. But the truth is, it's a country of 92 million people, and the weaponry, the firepower is in the hand of a very small percentage of those people who still control the levers of power.
Yeah, and obviously Khamenei had not really groomed a successor. There's no obvious person in this moment. As we talk about this three-person council, but I just think we have no clue who's leading Iran in this moment. And just overall, though, as someone who was imprisoned there and has covered Iran for 25 years, this moment in and of itself, where Iran has been so badly weakened, and doesn't pose the same kind of threat. I mean, right now, obviously, they are striking Gulf nations, but overall doesn't threaten and intimidate neighbors the same way it used to. What does that mean for this region? Because there was a New York Times analysis that compared it almost to the collapse of the Soviet Union, for example.
I think there are some obvious parallels to that time. The difference being that during the decline of the Soviet Union in the final years, there was a lot of coordination with the United States around that effort. Diplomatic relations had never ceased between the United States and the Soviet Union. Don't forget, Mikhail Gorbachev was the chairman of the Communist Party. It wasn't like he was some kind of Jeffersonian Democrat that had been, vying for the freedom of the Soviet Union for decades. That's not the case. And in Iran, I don't think that we've done the heavy lifting of trying to understand who other opposition figures are or viable people inside the country are that might come into leadership roles. And I think the thing that Iranian people fear the most, and something that some of us have been talking about for a long time, is that you take out this top level of leadership and you try and do something like you did in Venezuela and make a deal with another devil, right? Someone in the Revolutionary Guards, another cleric who has his finger on the pulse and has been in charge of repressing people in that country. And as you look at this leadership council that exists right now, one person on that is Mohsen Ejei, someone who people have talked about as a possible successor. He's the head of Iran's judiciary. During the protests several weeks ago and in the days that followed, he came out very forcefully and said, we need to arrest, prosecute, try as many of these protesters and execute as many as possible to send the message. And that's been this person's MO. So the idea that another cleric would come in and be potentially more open or less hardline, I think is wishful thinking.
Yeah, so much skepticism around what that could look like. Jason, thank you for joining us on this moment. It's really great to have your perspective in this.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Up next here, investors have been bracing since what happened overnight with oil futures at stake. And are they going to spike as trading kicks off just a few moments from now? We're following what the economic impact is going to look like for Americans of these strikes.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, okay. Cool point of me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Arrest her!
My attorney will bury you.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go ah?
Last week tonight with John Oliver.
Introducing All There Is Live, where I talk to others about grief and loss, and you can join the conversation too.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Watch The Lead, weekdays at 5 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you. The definitive predator.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price. All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
You might be standing on the verge of something great. You feel good?
I'm tipping you off in a huge story.
Or I'm deceived.
You can't construct a universe where nothing's real.
I've seen the headline.
This world will own you if you don't harden up.
How's your shift going? It's been a lot.
Charge clear.
We're gonna take care of you.
This is what we do.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character. You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it!
Yeah, yeah!
Oil markets are bracing right now after the strikes in Iran, with prices expected to jump as futures trading kicks off just a couple of moments from now. Andy Lipow is the president of Lipow Oil Associates and is tracking all of this for us this hour. And Andy, obviously there's a lot of concerns about what exactly this could look like. OPEC has been increasing production, but what do you think is going to happen when these markets open soon?
Well, Caitlin, I expect the oil market is going to jump $3 to $5 a barrel on the back of attacks on 3 tankers in the Straits area, as well as really we have a de facto shutdown of the Strait because the oil tankers are not going through it as missiles are flying. And in fact, we've got reports of at least 4 tankers that have diverted away or are dropping anchor.
Okay, so if these oil prices rise, I mean, a lot of Americans who are watching, not just about these strikes and wondering what's been happening there and what the objective is, what are they going to see in terms of what this looks like at the pump for them?
Well, what this means is gasoline prices will rise about 12 cents a gallon over the next 7 to 10 days. The same could be said about diesel prices. Of course, the worst case scenario is if the Straits of Hormuz are closed for a longer period of time, you could see oil prices rise $10 a barrel, which translates to 25 cents a gallon at the pump.
So I think that's a question of, does it last a couple days? Does it last weeks? I mean, the president's timeline, as Nick Payton Walsh was noting earlier, he's ranged from saying we could see this happening for 1 more week. He told The Atlantic and the Daily Mail, I believe, earlier. This could go on for a month, potentially, depending on the United States achieving their objectives there. I mean, if this stretches for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then what does that impact look like?
Well, I think the impact will be between $10 and $20 a barrel because what we are losing is 20 million barrels a day of oil and refined product supply, which equates to about 20% of the world's demand. If we go on for an extended period of time, I do expect the United States, the European Union, and others will start to release their strategic petroleum reserves to mitigate any further increases in price.
What else are you going to be looking for as this plays out in the next few hours and then seeing, obviously, as the U.S. markets open tomorrow?
Well, my biggest concern is if Iran retaliates by hitting oil infrastructure and its neighbors across the Middle East, as well as if they start indiscriminately attacking oil tankers, especially those that are carrying oil that's either going to the United States or linked to Israeli and United States owner-operators.
Okay, we'll watch to see, obviously, as Iran has continued its retaliation. Andy Lipow, thank you for joining us to preview that.
Thanks for having me.
And up next here, we have more on the dramatic escalations that we are seeing play out in the Middle East after the United States and Israel launched their coordinated strikes deep into Iran. I'm going to speak to the former Israeli ambassador to the United States about all of this right after this.
Your glasses can change the way you see the world. They can be bold, polished, complex, or unexpected. Find your perfect pair at Warby Parker. Or maybe your perspective is artful, simple, sharp, and classic. Find your perfect pair at Warby Parker, starting at $95, including prescription lenses.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Sometimes they're in moments of deep collaboration. At other times, the FBI is investigating the president.
You don't want an FBI to try to destroy a president, but you also don't want a president to destroy the FBI.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eye.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
How's your shift going?
It's been a lot.
This can be very stressful.
Charged. Clear. Is every day like this? No comment. We're gonna take care of you, okay?
This is what we do.
And we're back with our breaking news this hour as Israel has now launched a new wave of attacks, striking what it describes as dozens of targets belonging to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, with the IDF saying that their military is preparing to mobilize around what this could look like in terms of where this is going next and what exactly is playing out inside the Middle East. Obviously, we have seen these tensions in the Middle East only escalating since the United States and Israel launched their attacks against Iran, and how we've seen Iran retaliate, and also the condemnations that have come from several world leaders in the region, saying that Iran should not be attacking them because they were attacked by Israel and the United States. Our international diplomatic editor, Nick Robertson, is joining me now from Saudi Arabia. And Nick, obviously this is a key question of how this is playing out with the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia, as well as what these other leaders in the region are saying tonight.
Yeah, look, I think the question on the minds of all the leadership around the region at the moment is what is Iran's leadership going to do next? Does it also have a singular leadership? And that's a very core question, because the assessment that I'm hearing from sources here is that what happens over the next 12 to 24 hours will really be key for indicating what happens over the next week and beyond that. There is a very, very strong diplomatic message being sent from the region here. There was a virtual meeting of the GCC's ministers, the foreign ministers, the Saudi foreign minister here having a statement saying that they condemned the flagrant and unjustified attack